Good morning and welcome to the Point. It's been another very busy week in politics here in Michigan. A few months ago, when the primary date was set for the presidential nomination here in the state, some people said, well, that means Michigan's not going to get much attention right after Super Tuesday and before the winner-take-all races. That has proven not to be the case. 40-plus campaign visits later, we're still seeing a big circulation of candidates, including two major competitors this past week. First, Marco Rubio in Kentwood talked with us about his campaign and his hopes. Senator, you say you can unite this party. I have been flooded with endorsements for your candidacy this week. That's good news for you, but you know what your opponents, Mr. Trump and Senator Cruz, are going to say. Yep, he's the establishment guy, and in this race, that's not always the best place to be. How do you counter that?
Well, first of all, I never would have even been in this race had it been for the establishment. They were against me when I ran for Senate. They were against me when I started this campaign. I've had $40 million of establishment money used against me in negative ads, and yet we're still standing. I think what you see happening is something different. What you see now is a Republican Party across the political spectrum that's saying we have to win this election, and we want to rally behind the person that gives us the best chance to win, and that's me. I can unite this party. We can't win if we're not united, and this week proves that I can unite this party, and I will also grow this party, and that's why we're going to win in November as well.
On immigration, what is your position on the people who are in this country illegally today? What, as president, would you do, and what would you do about further immigration?
Well, my position is we can't even deal with that issue until we first secure our border. And once we've secured our border, we'll go to the American people and see what they're willing to support. It won't be amnesty. We're also not going to use militaristic tactics to round up and deport 12 or 13 million people. I think the American people will be very reasonable and responsible about how do you deal with someone who's been here for a long time and isn't a dangerous criminal. If they're a criminal, they're going to be deported. If the sanctuary cities are going to lose their federal funding. So there's a way forward on that, but only after we secure our border first and prove to the American people that the border is secured.
Do the American people care if Republicans either block or do not take action on a Supreme Court justice before this election?
To me, that issue is above politics. For me, it's about the future of the court and, quite frankly, the future of the Constitution. And we have a tradition in the Senate. It's 80 years old. I agree with Joe Biden when he talked about that tradition. He said in 1992 that we should not move forward on a nomination by George H.W. Bush because we shouldn't be moving nominations during presidential election years. Well, I agree with Joe Biden from 1992. We should wait until this election is over and allow the new president to make that appointment.
When you got into this presidential race, did you expect the Trump factor to be what it is, and has that negatively impacted the Republican race from your perspective?
No, I don't. I think it's made it more competitive, and the more competitive a race is, the better our nominee and the stronger our nominee is going to be. I think you learn from being tested. I think you grow stronger from being tested. The bottom line is Donald Trump has the support of about 25 to 30% of the Republican Party. That means 70% of Republicans are locked in against him. And right now that's divided up among 4 people. When that gets down to 2 people or 1 person, he'll lose the nomination, and the sooner the better. And so I believe I'm the candidate that can unite the majority of the Republican Party and grow it and win in November.
I don't have the advantage of being on the road with you, so you tell me. You saw this crowd here tonight. It was bigger than I anticipated. Is this the kind of response you've been getting around the country?
Sure, we had over 4,000 people in Tennessee on Sunday. We've had big crowds where we've gone, and that's good. That means there's moving and growing enthusiasm. What I'm really excited about is how many young people were here. We were in Minnesota earlier today. I'd say probably half the crowd was under the age of 30. That's what I mean by growing the party, and I felt that here again tonight. These are very excited people. They're motivated because they know what's at stake, and they know that if I'm our nominee, I will grow this party, I will unite it, and we'll win.
The president said today that Guantanamo Bay was going to go away. You say that's a bad idea.
It is a terrible idea. First of all, the people he's releasing from Guantanamo are rejoining the fight against America. Just today, Spanish police arrested a former Guantanamo detainee who had rejoined terrorism. So it's a terrible idea. When I'm president, we're not just going to keep Guantanamo. If we get our hands on terrorists, they're going to Guantanamo.
When you look at all that needs to be done in this country, you wrapped up your speech by talking about the greatness of America that you experienced, that your parents experienced when they immigrated here. You talked about that being possible again. How do you do that?
I think you do it by re-embracing the principles that made us great in the first place. A limited government that's federal, a limited federal government that isn't involved in every aspect of our lives. Re-embracing free enterprise, which is what creates economic growth and the jobs that allow people to be better off. And a strong national security that keeps us safe, and the values that made America strong. And those values you find in the home and in the community, not through government action. We re-embrace those things, we're going to be greater than we've ever been.
I've got 30 seconds left. Tell me what has surprised you most about this run for president, because it is a unique experience.
Well, I don't know if it surprises me, but it uplifts me to see that the American people still believe the future can be better. As I said in there, America's not a government, it's a people. Our people are still pretty good. We just are great. Our people are great, but we have a bad president. We're going to fix that in 2016.